Wonderful. Well, folks, welcome to this Go for Diamond webinar this evening. It is 8 o'clock and it is August 10th. And the topic this evening is protocol for building your Max business. But in light of recent events, John Winterholler actually will be joining us. He's one of the Max executive handling the North American market and I believe Central America and Australia. And John will actually be sharing, is our guest speaker this evening. Came in short notice in reference to some updates that I think is important that we deliver for everybody. And John's going to be talking about the inventory, a little bit of the back orders and what's been going on there, the COVID challenges, and maybe some of you might have received the email in reference to the fraud issues. People are desperate for our products, and I guess they're willing to do whatever it takes to access them. And so, John, I really appreciate the time that you're taking to share with us here. The call is being recorded. So please go ahead and take the floor, and Tammy and I will be following up with the agenda after you're done. So thank you for joining us.
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Tammy, and to everyone on the phone. I miss seeing you all. Mm-hmm. We're all a little bit stagnated now, I think, by what's happened globally with the COVID crisis. We're seeing great progress in some areas and not so good progress in others. I was on the phone earlier today with my office colleagues in New Zealand, and they just today, many of you might have read, celebrated 100 days with no new COVID cases in their country. They went at this hard and fast when it started to be a problem, locked down the island. Travel in and out, unless you were from one of the Pacific islands, was forbidden. If you go there now, if you can get in at all, you're still on the hook for 14 days mandatory quarantine. We were supposed to have an event there in early May, and the very hotel that we were supposed to have our event in has been assigned to be a quarantine hotel. Mm-hmm. And so it's unavailable for anything other than travelers from other countries having to quarantine there for 14 days. Here in the United States, in certain areas, we're having our challenges in keeping the virus under control. South America's in a lot of trouble, and I know in some of the Asian countries, they're still in many cases of lockdown. And so it's affected the way business is conducted. It's affected the way we all live our lives and what we're used to. And yet, I think we're all fortunate to be beneficiaries of modern science and good advice as to what we can do, even when we have to make some sacrifices in order to do that. And so I hope that I'm talking to all of you, finding you well, finding you happy, finding you coping, and all those things that come along with it. Let me explain a couple of the things that have happened that have affected our business as it relates as a relation to the COVID crisis. We have, as a company, very good and very seasoned manufacturers of our products, particularly of our Cellgevity, our GXL, our Max 1, and those that contain any of our ribosine products. We have very, very strict details and codes of adherence that they have to abide by. And when COVID hit, these companies, which are major manufacturers of a lot of different goods with great reputations, were overwhelmed with orders from groups wanting hand sanitizer. One of our companies alone that produces our products had orders received of 500 million bottles of hand sanitizer, more than they'd ever produced in their entire existence. And in order to meet that demand, they pushed all other manufacturing processes and clients a little bit to the back burner, some of which was us. And so where we had purchase orders in for Cellgevity and GXL and Max 1 and ATP and Infuse, those all got delayed. And where we thought we were ahead of the curve, we were got put slightly behind, which resulted in some back orders that varied by different markets. In particular, in your market, we had some challenges with GXL. We had some challenges with ATP and Infuse. We're pretty much as of last Friday, all caught up with the manufacturing and have products in-house that have been dispatched to the various fulfillment warehouses. And so we're able to catch up on all the back orders, for which we thank for your patience, as well as now be able to process orders in real time that are coming in on a daily basis. And so it'll take us just a few days probably to get fully caught up, but the products are on airplanes and every other mode of transportation getting to the proper destinations. And so you and others do not have to wait and hopefully won't be on back order again. So our thanks to you for your patience, for your understanding. And literally it was one of those unforeseen circumstances that came at our company and put us in a little bit of a tough situation. And so we are hoping that that's rectified very, very soon now, if not already.
Thank you, John.
Inventory is a tricky thing no matter what, because we had the good fortune, if COVID could have brought anything good about, it was that our products were in even more high demand than ever. Anytime that we can support our immune system more than what we're currently doing, those products are in high demand. And so we've seen great reception, great interest, and great desire on the part of people all over the world wanting our products. We're sending products through our New Zealand office, associates there into France and into England, into Spain, people who we don't even have the ability to collect their local currencies in our system right now. So our associates in Australia are literally ordering the product themselves, having it sent to them, and then sending it on to France to their own customers and things. So lots of opportunity that's coming about as a company, for which we are very grateful. So that covers a little bit of inventory, back orders, some of the COVID challenges. To my knowledge, we've had very minimal impact of Max associates or employees becoming infected with the virus and becoming ill, at least none that I've heard of. We hope that that remains the case and that everyone remains vigilant. Joe, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on our global management calls, is encouraging all of our offices to continue to follow the strictest of guidelines and protocols, to wear masks and to keep social distancing rules in place, even when the offices get very busy at month end and people are lining up to get their products, particularly in our markets in Africa and then the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And so with COVID comes some challenges and some things that test us a little bit. And on the other hand, it brings, I think, just a renewed sense of how grateful we should be for our wonderful Max products, for the things that we know that they do for us from a health perspective, and how easy I hope it's becoming even more so for everyone to share those products and the message about Dr. Nagasawa and the ribosine products with everyone you know, and encouraging them to get involved, to learn more, and to try our products if and when they think that is something that they would be willing and wanting to do. Mm-hmm. We have, changing topics just a little bit, we've recently experienced a major hacking attack through no fault of our own, trying to hack our websites and place unsolicited and fake orders into our back office, and to the tune of hundreds of thousands of attempts. And thank heavens for technology that helps us block those. But in the short term, which just was announced today, all orders are going to be asked to be placed by calling customer care and not through the virtual office. This might only last a day or two, but we do need to get on top of making sure that we have the proper fraud protections even more in place and enhanced over what we have today. So because we're seeing so many attempts night after night at trying to get into and hack our system, we're going to have to do some implementation of some newly acquired help to do that here in just the next couple of days. And so there'll be a little bit of a request and a requirement on the part of us all to be more manual as we get these other protections in place. And we apologize for that, but it is, from a finance and IT and compliance perspective, the strongest step we could take in order to protect yourselves from fraud, not exposing any of your personal data, the company from increased fraud attempts, as well as just in general, us not playing and participating with those who are trying to scam and otherwise take advantage of anything they can find as loopholes to hack into our computer systems. And so we're taking very extraordinary precautions at compliance's request as well as our bank's request to make sure that we're fully protected.
And John, if I may add, and all credit to Max, I mean, Twitter has been hacked. I mean, there's a trend that's going on right now where major company have been, they've been trying to hack. And I don't know if you recall on CNN where the personal email of the President of the United States, including Bill Gates and so these are things that are unfortunately part of life, and I'm sharing this in all fairness because sometimes people don't realize to the extent, and Max, I mean, I guess we're starting to play in the big leagues and people are taking shots at us, and I want you to know, John, that we, in behalf of the team here, we really appreciate Max taking these measures to protect the integrity of our data and everything else, because I know that other companies have been hit quite hard.
Well, thank you, Chris. And I will pass that along, because there's some people in IT and in our fraud department just working night and day to make sure that we're as protected as we possibly can. And we live in challenging times, and there's people who work full time to do nothing but steal and defraud companies. And so we've experienced more than our share recently, and so we're making sure that we're putting additional protections in place. So thank you for those comments.
Yeah, sure.
In addition, I wanted to just take a few minutes and just talk about some of our upcoming events. For those who've been able and willing to participate in our most recent global calls that we started back in the June-July timeframe, the calls and the broadcasts have been extraordinarily well attended in all of our markets across the country. We've recorded all of them to this point in time for the sole purpose of, not because we didn't want to play them live, but we have to translate those into Spanish and in many cases into French as well. And that just takes time to make sure that we are consistent in our messaging that goes to all of our different markets. And so this last one that we did was a broadcast with Dr. Scott Nagasawa and Scott Momey, who talked about our science and some of the latest studies, and it was very well received. Many of our top leaders across the globe also received permission from compliance to replay that broadcast on different medium other than the GoToWebinar, because it's not easy in some countries to get access to certain platforms. And so we gave, on a case-by-case basis, the opportunity for people like Ann Turnbull, for people like the Guatemores in the Philippines, Joey, our general manager there, to rebroadcast that event. It was so well received, and this next one is taking quite a bit of effort on our part that we didn't anticipate. So we're rebroadcasting the call that we did in July, August 13th through the 16th. So that'll be Dr. Nagasawa again and Scott Momey, the very same webinar that we did the last time. So if you missed it or missed the ability to share it with someone, starting at midnight in New Zealand time on the 13th, so that's just about another day and a half from now, that will be broadcast for a full 4, almost 5 days for people to go GoToWebinar and access that live recording and listen to it again and share that with other people. It's not restricted in any way from anyone who's even not a Max associate to go in and listen to. They just need the registration link in order to do that, and they can listen to the full broadcast live. There's next, on top of that, there's been an heroic effort on the part of a team from my sweet friends in Canada there that came about with an idea almost a year ago to do a medical symposium, which we were well on our way to organizing. It was supposed to be held the last weekend in June in Toronto. And because of COVID, that got suspended, postponed, but we are pleased that in mid-September, part 1 of that medical and health symposium will be played to all of our markets around the globe in English, Spanish, and French. We've recorded now the first 2 speakers. We're in the process of transcribing and translating those, after which then we'll overlay those transcriptions and translations over the top of the PowerPoint slides, and we will have part 1 of the medical symposium in mid-September for the entire Max world to be able to participate in. And that will include Dr. Margie Smith from Australia, who's one of the leading DNA practitioners in the entire world. And her presentation I've listened to, and it's absolutely fabulous regarding the makeup of DNA in our bodies and how different compounds, including glutathione, are enhanced and protected. And so it's very relevant to the world that we live in Max. And then Dr. Scott Nagasawa has recorded yet another more in-depth presentation on some of the new studies that have come out that he slightly mentioned in our last call. So he's given us the ability to record him once again. And then probably in October, that might be pushed to November, we'll have part 2 of the medical symposium, which will be 2 other medical practitioners and scientists who will take part 2 of that medical symposium that will be broadcast to the whole world. The reason we may skip October, and I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself here, that there's a global online event being planned for mid-October that you're going to be receiving wonderful information about here in just the next little while. We're having a planning meeting on it on Wednesday to talk about it and put the agenda in place. So there'll be some wonderful information. It'll be a full day, truly a full day, no matter the market in which you live, of content, promotions, recognition, all the things we would have done had we been able to get together in person at a global convention. We'll do our best to do that on an online event. That'll be in mid-October. So stay tuned for that. And if you have any requests or if you have any desires as to what you'd like to see on that agenda, I would certainly invite you to send me a text, a WhatsApp message, an email to give me your suggestions so that I can put them also out there for all to consider in our various markets. So that's going to be coming. We're also planning in just the next couple of weeks on a call with our global events team to talk about some of the rescheduled events that weren't able to take place in 2020, as well as the new plan for major events such as Road to Gold, Destined for Diamond, and Diamond Retreat, and rescheduling those for 2021, all in hopes that our lives will get back to some sense of normalcy. We'll be able and willing to travel again, and that we can get back to celebrating and recognize one another in person. So there's a tremendous amount of activity going on. The Max business is healthy. We're doing well. And it's only because of your efforts to modify your business practices and be able to once again do the miracles that it takes to make this business successful, to make your own individual businesses in direct selling successful, by finding new ways to talk to people, by inviting people to use the products, by keeping people involved and keeping them using the products, even when times are difficult. So my compliments to all of you, my thanks to all of you, and I've probably taken more time than you wanted me to, Chris, but anything else that I can address that I didn't touch on?
As a matter of fact, I'm just looking at the chat section here, and Myra Paul has asked, will there be credit given to the medical professionals? And who will attend the symposium? That is, I don't know if Myra Paul, you finish your sentence there, but I don't know if that makes sense to you.
No, that was the same
credit.
sentence.
Yeah, maybe a little more clarification on that. Will credit be given to the medical experts?
Yeah, Myra Paul, if you please go ahead and clarify your question.
No, I just, for those medical professionals that will be attending the medical symposium, will they get credit, you know, towards their education?
Oh, the CTE credits?
Yes.
Yeah, that's market by market, needs to be determined by their governing body. That, you know, if you're in one medical specialty, they have different criteria than others. And so in the various markets, we have people looking into what those criteria are. And then it's changed on us, Marie Paul, in a big way, because we're just not quite sure how that's going to play out in the Zoom world when everything's done online. Okay, so great question. And we are looking into it on a market by market basis. And our hope is certainly that it will be available and made to be given credit for that continuing education credit that they also desperately want.
Beautiful. And also there's a comment from Denise.
Okay.
Thank you, Myra Paul. The symposium has been a laborious endeavor, and thank you to corporate for taking this initiative. So just again, a tap on the shoulder. So thank you for that. So John, listen.
Well, I would claim it be laborious is not a word I would use. It's been a true pleasure to see the passion of this core team of people that started. I'll give credit where credit's deserved here. It started as an idea to have a Lyme disease symposium by Janet Moriyama. And that mushroomed into what we're now able to do as a medical symposium around every aspect of our health. I expect that this will be the first 2 sessions of many to come. Hopefully some will sooner or later be in person, but wonderful opportunities for us as a country to go out and bring in that medical expertise to support all of our wonderful products in our company. So thank you for that.
Thank you, John. And by the way, folks, if I'm muting your line, it's just because there's background noise, and I just want to make sure we have a clear, transmission of information here. But if you do have any comments here, I'll just get John to wait for 10 more seconds here. Feel free to type in yes for a Y if you have any comment. You may need time to type. And if not, then we'll just carry on with our agenda here. Okay, so again, if I mute you, I do apologize. It's not meant to kind of avoid you speaking. It's just I want to make sure the line is clear. Okay. I think there's no more comments here, John. So everybody's kind of muted out, so that's why it's quiet. So thank you, John. I know we took you away from some, I think you have a family function going on. And
No, I drove back from Lake Powell today.
Oh, yeah.
I was on vacation for the last 4 days down on the lake with my family and had a wonderful time, but I'm pleased I got back in time that I could join you this evening. So thank you for the invitation.
Well, thank you. On behalf of Tammy and I and the team here, thank you so much for that. We'll let you go.
Okay, we'll hope to see everyone soon. Take care.
Wonderful. Okay, folks. So at this point, thank you very much again, John. At this point, let's go back to the agenda. And Tammy and I wanted to really concentrate on the aspect of protocol for building your business. Now, obviously, our time's been cut down a little bit, and I don't want to hold you back too long here. We do appreciate your time. And these are questions that often appears throughout the course of our life, where we realize that maybe we should do a call on some of the things that we talked about, and so to create some clarity and help folks to really kind of understand what are the steps that some of us take to get wonderful results. And often many of you probably will be aware of some form of what we're talking about, but it's good for you to pick up on some of the things we share, because often, people don't have necessarily experience in creating, an income and this kind of business model. And often people come about it in a way that they really want it to happen, but it's not necessarily happening. And there's a few little things that could be the cause as to reason why you're not getting some of the results. And we do understand that many of you have tried different things, different approach, and sometimes, like Tammy and I mean, we wrote this book because we went through trial and error, and we were trying to minimize the steps or the trial and error stages that you need to go through to be able to get to the results that you desire, or even better than us. I mean, that would be Tammy and I, this is what we thrive on. So one of the things that we want to do here, Tammy, I'm going to unmute you just so you have the floor if you choose to. One of the things that we want to cover today in the protocol in building a successful Max business, one is, again, this is just a highlight. It's what we want to talk about briefly here, and we'll kind of summarize the information to stay within the time frame of 45 minutes here. We have another probably 20 minutes here on the call. Understanding the simplicity, very important, understanding the simplicity of our product. And I'll cover what I mean by that. See, often we think, and this is what's so beautiful about Max, is our science is so powerful, so credible. You heard it earlier. I mean, people are really, really want to have access to our products, not always the right way, but the point, the message, people want what we have. But there's a way to deliver the message where you don't need to be a scientist or even have any kind of experience and sharing the benefits. And Tammy will talk about that briefly. The other thing we want to talk about is understanding your comp plan. There's some really, it's very simple. The approach is very, very simplistic. And I think often we tend to overcomplicate things. And because of that, we have a mental block and we don't seem to be able to pass that step to be able to get the motivation to go out there and create that other stream of income because of that little blockage. Maybe I can help you with that. Number 3 is we want to talk a bit briefly about duplicating the same new associate orientation with every associate you enroll. And it's not a complicated thing, but if you do it, it could make a significant difference in your results. If you avoid it or you don't do this, then that could be the reason why you're not getting the results you're looking for. And the last point is to stay in touch with your team on a regular basis. That is absolutely critical. So Tammy, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about understanding the simplicity of our product to be able to create value and a desire to want to go to get more information or even to consider this opportunity because of what we have to offer. So back to you.
Yeah, I mean, Chris said it a few times, simplicity is the key. People are so busy in today's world that they don't have time to listen. And if you go and share a large amount of information with them because you're excited about it, you're going to lose them. That's the bottom line. Or they'll say, just send me the information, I'll go check it out. And the truth is they're so busy, they're just kind of brushing you off. And the things that we've learned over the years, the simpler we keep things, the easier this business is to build. And in your prospects' minds, they're thinking, is this person going to be there for me, number 1? So make it about them, don't make it about you. And number 2, can I do this? That's what's going through their head. Can I do this? Because if what you're doing is very educational and they're like, oh God, I can't learn this. No possible way. I can't do this. So the moment you say, are you open to an opportunity? They're going to go, no, don't have time for it. So, so the key is simplicity. We use the tools. It's that simple. It doesn't matter what Chris and Tammy know. What matters is, can they duplicate? And if they feel they can, and I even walk my prospects through the process of the system. They don't even know I'm training them while I'm prospecting them. In other words, first step, maxlook.info, and that's how we train our team. And the second step is the follow-up call with a third party. We bring a third party in, we create that connection, let them talk. That's the second step. And the third step is to find out, what they like best and if they're ready to get started. It's that simple. So, if we can do it that simple after all the knowledge that we've had over the years and we're getting results, then you guys can do that. And Chris said it, it's dead on. People overcomplicate everything, and that's the reason they don't get results. I keep it really simple and really stupid when you think about it. So simple a child can do it. And people are open.
I totally agree, Tammy. And often, folks, that is the issue or the challenge that we're facing is that we overcomplicate things. And maybe it's our upbringing of our education, right? We always think that we have to go to the bottom and, dig into the details. And often the details are not important until the interest is very strong. So I think Tammy covered it well when it comes to the approach.
Can I just share an example of what I say about the product, Chris?
Yeah, sure. By all means, do that.
Because people, after I say that to associates that are having problems in that category of the product, how do you do it? How do you talk to them about the product? It's so simple, you guys. I don't go into the detail of ribosine and everything. I say, have you ever heard of glutathione? Yes, no. Regardless, I still say, it's the most important antioxidant. It sits in your cell. It's a scrub brush. It's that simple. I tell them that. It's a scrub brush in your cells. It's that simple. All it's doing is getting rid of the bad guys in your body so that you can feel the way you're supposed to feel, so you can feel better. Anybody who's done a call with me and we've gone into that conversation, you know what I go through. And often they go, oh, hold on, can you say that again? Can I take that? It's really simple. You know, it's a scrub brush.
And you know, folks, often, and I know some of you have, doctorates in, dental hygienists, and you're into the science and the details, and that's totally fine. That's totally cool. And we understand too that if you need to dig into the details, you know that the information is there. And if you need help in that area, Tammy and I can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I recently had a naturopath who joined the team, Reiki Master as well. And I did the same thing, did the scrub brush. She's very familiar with glutathione. She's tried many. And then from there, I just sent her the documents that Bobby Horn shared, how she talks to the medical professionals. When you go to the Go for Diamond calls, on the folders in the documents, you'll find Bobby Horn's.
I will show them.
Yeah, you can show. Okay, yeah. And that's all I do. I send the documents for Bobby Horn stuff to them, and Jasmine's webinar for health professionals. Maybe Chris, we can share that.
I'm just going to do a screen share here to kind of walk everybody through that. And you can see here what I'm sharing. Oops, okay, that's the Max website. Here's Active Team. And what Tammy's talking about here is the document section. You simply click here. And for those of you that are familiar with the term, it sends you to a Dropbox, which is just a directory that's connected to my computer, that every time I dump a file in any of those directories, it sends it to the cloud, which is what you see here. I'm sure everybody heard the expression the cloud. Well, that's what the Dropbox is. It's a cloud, and it's sitting there. And then from there, if you look at, for example, Canada, USA, and I click on English, and at this point, I would click on, let's see here, testimony, trade show, on the training maybe, compensation plan, training, miscellaneous. Do you remember, Tammy, how I call the directory where I put the files? Here we go. Go for Diamond webinar. So let me go back here. I do so many things, I lose track of what I do. So you click on documents, right? So to go back to the beginning, for those of you, if I went a little too fast, okay, I'm just going to go back here. You click on documents. From documents, you would click on Canada, USA, in this case, okay? And then you would select English. And then you would go under the document section here. When you click under the document, I create a directory called Go for Diamond Webinar. When you click on that, you'll see Bobby Horn. That's what Tammy is talking about. So sometime I do other calls for your reference, and you might be listening to them, and the details are here, okay, of that particular call. So you click on Bobby, and there's a lot of really good documents that you can utilize. And again, these are for you that might be a bit more inclined to the data and the science and all that stuff. There's good information here. Go ahead, Tammy, and finish what you were saying.
Yeah, and then I'll ask Jasmine to post on the Canada US group the webinar that she does, so that people can use that as well. And it's been working very effectively. Every time I do that, when I'm dealing with professionals. But if you're not dealing with professionals, I would just keep it really simple, really simple. Mm-hmm.
Now, to go back here, to the subdirectories, keep in mind that there's a lot of data here. Okay, and just dig in, folks, and find out. You may find some things that we're not referencing here that you may find very, very interesting, like study folders, right? You may find some duplication here because Bobby may be using some things that we've been having in that subdirectory, but there's some really good content here, okay? So
I'm going to work on that once I'm finished my Freedom Formula presentations, yeah.
So in line to the next point I'm going to talk about is the compensation plan. And for those of you that are wondering, where do I get these files? Well, this is the PowerPoint. That's where that I'm going to be referencing. Now, I'm not going to use this one. simply because I've removed a lot of the slides to concentrate on the actual aspect that I want to cover today, which I kind of brought it in here. So I just kind of switched my screen for you to see that. And at the end of the day, folks, as you noticed here, right, there's a lot of more slides in between these two slides here. So I removed those. And what's really important for you to understand when you're sharing information to a prospect or customer, or again, let me rephrase that. A customer may not be inclined to want to get that information, but an associate, someone that would like to earn an income. And I think there's a lot of people today that are inclined to want to create an income. They just don't believe or they don't know how to go about it, right? So what's really important here is this. This is what you need to know. You don't need to know everything. Because if you understand the fact that you have sponsored 5 people, and you know what's really cool? Max have made the enrollment for free. It's still ongoing. So you can actually sponsor a customer here that just consuming 100 CV. They just want the Celgivity with the ATP. That's a combination. You can enroll them and they count as 1 for you. And the goal here is that you want to get 5 people that are consuming 100 CV. And why would people want to consume these products? Well, that's what we talked about, the benefit of the products. And there's so many videos, and I'll come back to some of the videos that I would suggest for you to look at if you happen to be a customer or dealing with a customer, for them to understand, okay, how do I know if this is good for me? I'll come back to that in a minute. But the point is, when you got those 5 people here, you have qualified for Prime Bonus 1. That is key. Once you've done that, you will get a commission. It's really interesting because for the past 2 months, about 29 diamonds, from diamond to crowns, have been working together to come up with some really interesting incentives that the company will support. I'm telling you, I can't wait for you to see that. If you happen to be an associate who's a bronze going to silver, or an existing silver, or even if you're a higher premium level, but you will love what's coming, because it's really going to attend to the associates that are in the rank of silver. I can't wait for this to come out, and it's going to come soon. But the point here, to stay on target to my message, is to understand that you need 5 people consuming 100 CV. CV stands for commissionable volume. PV, which this actually should be PV. And what's going on is this is your personal volume. Okay, so PV stands for personal volume. CV stands for commissionable volume. Commissionable volume will be converted into dollars, or depending on what currency you're in, based on your currency. Okay, so that is what you need to understand. And the key is that 600 points. Where's this coming from? Well, it's coming from you sponsoring those 5 that are each ordering a minimum of 100 plus your 100. Then when you start duplicating that, this is where the reference 600 CV comes from, is to help people qualify for Prime Bonus Level 1. So people sometimes will ask me, and that happens regularly, why left, why right? Why can it all be on the same side? Or why can it just stay like this? Well, you see, the company is paying tens of thousands of associates globally, all over the world. It's a very, very complicated task for the company. But for us, we simply do our duplication. And what happens for the company is they have to make sure that you over here, you realize you can have tens of thousands of CV here from people above you. You understand that? So if the company doesn't implement the left and the right, well, they would pay people who just signed up. They pay the money to become an associate. They do absolutely nothing. And they have all these volume underneath one leg because someone above them happens to be building their business. And all they need to do is sit back and collect. Well, the company wouldn't last 2 months because they would have too many people to pay and not enough people to contribute. So the company says, okay, hey, if there's all this volume underneath your left team, it's yours. But if you want to cash in on that volume, you need to also contribute at least 50%. What I mean by that is, let's say you got, I don't know, 10,000 points here. Let's just use an example, okay? Well, if you want to have the $1,000, because the company will take 10% of the amount that is equal on both sides. For example, if you have 10,000 here and 10,000 here, it will deduct the 10,000 from both sides. And what it does, it gives you 10% of that 10,000, and then boom, you got $1,000. Okay, and this is how this works when you look at the binary team. So the company is to be able to pay that person. Let's say there's 10,000 on this side, and this side is 0. Well, that 10,000 will stay there like a bank, and they can't collect until they start putting people on the other side. And that's how the company can justify the payout and paying tens of thousands and even millions of people in the future. That's why there's a left side and a right side. And if you need more details on that, I'll show you where you can listen to some videos that I've done in 2015, and which will be updated probably by the end of this year, or very soon, once we add some of the addendum that I was referring to a moment ago. But the point here is, when you build and you help people qualify for the Prime Bonus 1, you are creating blocks of 600 CV, including yours, right? Because they also have their 100 CV plus their 5, and that's how this counts. And this is how I've trained every diamonds in the world. Exactly what I'm telling you right now is duplicate primes. That's why the prime is so important on this thing. So the other thing is also very important that I took note to mention to you is why keep, like, for example, if let's say you have a sister and a brother, right? And they're in the same family. You never divide family. You're not going to put your brother here and your sister here because you want to open both sides. It's not realistic. You don't get the family to compete against each other to sponsor people in their team. So even though you'd love to have both sides, people on both legs, you want to divide. So for example, if you have volume on this side already, you may choose to put your family on this side. It's just an example, okay? Keeping in mind that you need to have one person on your right, one person on your left, or at least consuming 100 points. And these are the details that are in a compensation plan. I just want you to understand the logic here is that you technically probably would want to put the effort on this side to try to match that side. But it's important that you sponsor on both sides if you want to move up in rank as we move forward. Okay? So that's the point of, you want to keep family together. You never divide family. Ever, ever, ever. Even friends, people that know each other well, you keep them within the same group. You don't divide that. Very, very, very important. So that covers kind of left side, the right side, the family, close friends, the importance of the prime bonus we talked about. We talked about the right-left binary, okay? So in reference to this, if I may share with you where you can access the information to learn the process on the compensation plan. Let me see here. Oh, here we go, right there. Okay, so let me go back here. And if I go back to active team here, I was showing you a moment ago, there are videos. And earlier I talked about Jasmine did a really, really good job back on January of this year on the kickoff 2020. She talked about the science over here and the products. This was really, really well done. It's 20 minutes. So if you happen to be an associate here and you have some customers that are with you here on the call, this is a really good way you can send them this, right? You can click on that, and from that point on, you can actually share the link, copy the link, and then you can paste it. For example, for the sake of discussion here, if I paste that, right, here's the link. You can put that into an email or a text, and then you send over to them. When you click on it, they will look at the same video, okay? So it's, again, it's just for your reference, so you have an idea of where you can get the information to learn about the products. And the other thing too that's really important, I talked about, okay, where can I learn this plan? Well, here, if you click on, again, I don't know if I went too fast, sometimes I click a little quickly, under miscellaneous trainings, there's an icon here. You click here, and you have to go down a little bit. And if you go down to, for example, the fast start commission, 1 minute 44 second, max international prime bonus. Now that explains the prime bonus, but there's going to be some changes that you're really going to like. That's about 3, but at least it'll give you an idea of the relationship between the prime bonus and the binary. If you want to learn the comp plan properly, well, this here is the actual video. And so it's been viewed quite a bit of time because people have been learning the compensation plan. And really what I'm doing is I'm going through the PDF, and I go from top to bottom, and I explain all the details in reference to the compensation plan, the terms, and and I suggest that you take the time to look at that. It's a little old. It's about it's 5 years old now. That was done in 2015, and again, you can learn the process of the compensation plan. And this is what's really important. This is what I meant here, folks. That it's important that you have the basic tools and understand how to communicate the message. It will be really, really, really helpful for you. And the next point, Tammy, I know that we want to talk about the new associate orientation. If you want to touch on that, and then I'll show people while you're talking where to access it.
Okay. While you were doing all that, I sent the webinar, or the thing that Jazz sent for the YouTube. So anyways, yeah, so the new associate orientation, actually, we have to work on that, Chris. There's some updates that need to be done in the new associate orientation document itself that goes out every time somebody signs up with Max. The simple thing is to, it's right there where Chris is showing you. The moment they subscribe to the Active Team site, then they automatically get 2 documents. One is references, and one is the new associate orientation sheet. Okay, so we need to work on that, but it's there and it's accessible. And we highly recommend the moment you get somebody started in your business, that's the first step. Set up a Zoom chat. If you're meeting people belly to belly, then you would just walk it through with them. So the moment I sign somebody up, I tell them to go on Active Team, get themselves subscribed. They're going to receive a welcome letter. And in that letter, there's 2 documents. I set up my Zoom new associate orientation chat where I'm showing them the information. I'm walking them through their website. So it's all simple steps to get people started right. And when that is duplicated, not you doing it for everybody, but when that is duplicated within your organization, you're going to have leaders that are going to build this with or without you. And that's what everybody's looking for in our profession. So the key is not to do things for everybody, but to teach people how to do it.
In fact, that is key. One of the reasons why Tammy are in the position that we're in is I make a point of really creating autonomy. Is that the right word in English? To make sure that people can be autonomous. They can build this business and they don't need me to hold them by the hand for the rest of their lives. Because I'm telling you, if you don't create that independence by kind of pointing them to the right direction, not doing it for them, but point them to the right direction, that's the difference between creating an empire or creating a daycare center, right? I hope you don't mind my example here. So, for example, if you click on, for example, a new associate orientation, right? And that's what Tammy talked about here. We're going to be changing a few things, updating it for some of the updates that's coming out. We're going to change this with the actual goals, Max looked at info, and the details that are some, we're still referencing the Go for Diamond call. And so obviously all of these are webinars now. So we're going to be changing these things, and that's what Tammy talks about. We also have
and the moment it's done, it's in real time. So Chris will send you a message and you could just go in and get the new one.
And I'd like just to mention here, folks, this is what I use to present online, by the way. That's all I use. Mm-hmm. I use this, and that's it. But I don't just do that. I mean, once I've explained the products and we've talked about the prime, which is right here, and then the binary, which is right here, and the bronze. Once I've done that, then at this point, what I do is I switch over to that condensed version. And I'd be very happy to post that. If you feel that you want to have it on the active team, I'll add it in the directory where the PowerPoint is there, and I'll write just a condensed compensation plan or something like that. I'll create a subdirectory so it's easy to find. But then I go right here, I explain the marketing annual revenue. I come back to the reference here, and I don't even do a full slide. I just show them the slide as you see them now, and then I explain the relationship that I just shared with you. And then I go back with the matching check, which is a royalty based on all the associate you're sponsoring into your business, and you're entitled to earn a percentage of what they earn. The company will send to you, right? And then the getting started, the packages, where we're located, the traveling that we've done, and the one dream, one vision, one team, one mission. And then from there, it's really done. Then I switch over to the company website, and that's all there is to it. So if I go back here, I go back to the max.com, and I go in and I just kind of click the join button, and I show them the process of enrolling, right? It's really that simple. You come in as an associate, then you put 10441, just a very quick reference here, folks. Again, and I get people to see the exact details, right? And then you can go through the process, explaining the packages and everything else. And you'll find it's amazing how people tend to want to gravitate to get started when you show them live on what they need to do. And that's what Tammy and I do on a regular basis. And that's why, despite the COVID-19, we've adjusted very, very well through these difficult times by utilizing these tools.
And if you're new and you see all this, you go, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? Don't worry about it. There's webinars. Chris, if you could just show the group. There's webinars that are on the calendar that you could tap into any one of them and send that link to your prospect. And from there, you set up a 3-way call. Just click on that, Chris, and let's see what's the closest one from today. So tomorrow. So,
for example, tomorrow we have all these webinars, right? So they're all listed over here. And Luz, correct me if I'm wrong here, if there's been some updates with the Spanish version, but it's all over here, and they go on all week long. So just click on any one of them. This is in French that Lucy did. Very, very nice. The link is right over here, right? You can you cut and paste this link, right? And then you simply put it into your browser, and you go there and you register for it, right? That's it. So I just happen to be using the French one here, but it's really that simple. So things are very simplistic. You just need to kind of point and click and familiarize yourself with what is available.
And just go back to the calendar really quick, Chris. We did something this morning with the Strong Max Women Facebook group. Any of the ladies that are part of that, at 9 a.m., we've got Motivational Monday, Transformational Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday. We got Facebook Lives. And the big thing that why we're putting this together, more importantly, is to get the women out of their comfort zones to learn how to do Facebook Live. So we've been having a lot of fun with it globally with all the ladies, and we're bringing more and more women into it. So guys, if you have women that are part of your team, you want them to join the Strong Max Women, plural, WOMEN group on Facebook. And they have to answer 2 questions. Who introduced you to the platform? And oh my gosh, I just had a blank because I have 2 different platforms now. And the other question, it has to do with what level they are, I think, in the organization. So anyways, they do have to answer 2 questions so that we know that they're a Max associate. And then the girls on the admin are accepting them. So we also have webinars that we're going to be adding to that, and that the recordings are going to be available. Chris, want to show that on Active Team? Because I think a lot of people don't know.
It's 8:55, Tammy, but go ahead. Where do you want me to go?
Go to Active Team for the videos for the once a month. We do a webinar specifically to mostly social media so far. And you can tap on those. It's for men or women. It makes no difference.
Are you talking about the Strong Max Women?
Yes, the webinars. Yeah, there's another one that's going to be going up, and that is a LinkedIn. And the next future ones are going to be Bobby Horn's going to do next month. Instagram's going to be the month after. So again, more platform for all of you to learn, because the recordings are right there on the Strong Max Women webinars as well.
Absolutely. So in closing, folks, what's important here, the last point to cover, we've covered a lot of topic and a lot of information here, but one of the things is to stay in touch with your team. And why is that important? Because there's a lot of distraction out there. There's a lot of people that don't know much about network marketing, but they certainly know how to distract people. And it's unfortunate because often, Tammy and I see this a lot, where you got a lot of poachers that knows absolutely nothing about long-term growth and creating solid income. They're like bees. They jump from one flower to another, and that's all they know. And there's a lot of people that are trying to earn an income in this business, but they never stick to anything. And the reason why you want to stay in touch with your team is to make sure that you educate them on what we have, the importance of what we have, the science behind what we have. Because often what you will find is some people are just going to say anything you want to hear that is appealing to you, until you get there, realize, my God, that's not even close to what I was being told. And I hear this all the time. But when you make the move, it's hard to come back, and sometimes it's a bit of a pride thing. So a lot of people, they slow down their growth because of this kind of distraction. And that's why this team building and staying in touch with your team is absolutely critical. That's why Tammy spent numerous hours with the Strong Max Women, the Freedom Formula classes, the Go for Diamond webinar. Why do we do these things? Is to make sure that we can instill the reality and the importance of what we do and what we have, and the reality of the income associated with it. Because we're proof. Tammy and I came from nothing financially to abundance, strictly because of Max International. So we're not making that up. And many of you here have seen us grow from the beginning, and it's even in the book. And so that's the point as to why do we do all these things, is because we understand the importance of staying in touch with the team. If the team don't want to participate, well, let me rephrase that. If some individuals don't want to participate, that's okay. We can't force people to come in, but we encourage people to come in and participate, and we encourage you to do the same thing with your team, with the people you bring in. That's how you will create a mammoth organization over time. And sometimes you don't know who's going to do what. Sometimes we focus our energy on one person and thinking they're going to do amazing things, and they end up not doing much. And the person that you're having spend 2 minutes on happens to be the person that is your star. We saw that so many times. But how do you find that out? By creating an environment for people to, you recognize the people that show up, right? So I think, Tammy, it's 8:59, so we're gonna end it on this note. We've covered a lot of grounds here, and I'm very, very proud of Max International. We're starting to play with the big leagues, and people notice us. They recognize what we have, and they're putting us to the test, like the grinder. And Max is, I think, handling themselves very, very, very well. And again, that communication is a way for us to explain to you what's happening, so you don't, how come my order is not going through online for the next 24 hours or 48 hours? I don't know how long it's going to take for them to resolve this, but you can call in and still continue building your business. So at this point, Tammy, we'll end on this note. So everybody, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening. And thank you for your patience. And we hope that you got some good content from that. And Denise, I did get your message here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that short version. Let me just end with that because I think it's important that we finish this. What I'm going to do is for you to find it, please take note of that. You go under Documents, and then you go under Canada, USA, and then you would select English. I go a little bit fast because it is recorded. You can go back and listen to this. And then we'll go under Max International Presentation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another file like this one, but I'm going to call it Condense, Max Opportunity Condensed. And I'll put the date of, the today or the month of now, and that will be the second file here. Okay, so that way, that's where you will find it. Because otherwise, if I have to send it individually, I'm going to forget a few of you. But if you know where to get it, you can access it there. Okay. So everybody, have yourself a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining in. Okay.
Everybody.
All right, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everybody. You feel free to unmute yourself as you sign off. And I'll wait this time.
Thank you, Chris and Tammy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good night.
Good night, Josie. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the comments here to make sure I don't overlook anything. Disagree.